Alo. Không, không, giao bài. Alo.
Sayalay,အခုSayalayစတင်လို့ရပါတယ်။
မသိဘူးဆရာလေးအဲ့ဘက်က message လို့စပေးမယ်ထင်လို့စောင့်
ခုနဒီဗီဒီယိုလို့မော်တက်စားတော့စပြီးပါစေ။
ဟုတ်လားဆရာလေးမကြားလိုက်
ဟုတ်တယ်အဲ့တော့Sayalayဘက်ကမကြားလိုက်တယ်။
sorry ဟုတ်ကျေးဇူးပါဟုတ်စလိုက်ပါဟုတ် So very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to our Abhidhamma class on the second last lecture. And let's start our lecture again very soon. And sorry, I didn't hear Namo recitation of the Namo Tassa, so just let me briefly recite Namo Tassa again. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the glorious one, the worthy one, and the fully self-enlightened one. Sorry to keep you waiting, and I misunderstood. The organizers has called me to start, but I was thinking if I was ready to start, so I just kept sitting and just looking at you. So today we will see the law of dependent origination in relation to the law of karma. So both these topics are a great topic, very profound and wide as well. So it's rather difficult with my limited knowledge to explain, but I will try my best to share what I have learned and what I understand. So the first one, the Buddha's teaching. Basically, we can say that the Buddha's teaching, or the essence of Buddha's teaching, is based on the law of cause and effect. And most of us are familiar with the Four Noble Truths, the Ariya Satya, or in Burmese we call Tissa Leba, right? And in addition to that, we have some other teachings that are based on the law of cause and effect. So here I have a table to share with you, and here we can see 3 columns, and it says that the mode of teaching Desana, Buddha's teaching, Buddha Desana, can be classified into 3, that is regarding the law of cause and effect. The first one, that is the Four Noble Truths. So it says that in teaching the law of cause and effect, the Four Noble Truths, they are the most summarized, they are the most concise form. There is no shorter one or no abbreviation or no summary or abridgment than these Four Noble Truths. So as most of us are aware, the first one, it begins with suffering. So its full name is the Noble Truth of Suffering, Dukkha Ariya Satya, because it is to be realized by the noble persons, Ariya Satya. Okay, Ariya is noble. By noble, here we mean Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahanta, the noble persons or the Ariya Pokala who have partially or some completely have removed or eradicated the mental impurities, which we call mental defilements. So the first one is the suffering. So it's like we have a disease. Okay, suppose I'm having a disease, I have sickness. So what does the doctor have to do? The doctor has to do. So the doctor has to trace its source. Why did it happen? Or in another way, the doctor has to diagnose the sickness, the original sickness, or the cause that is underlying. Suppose I have a headache, just giving a painkiller or the muscle relaxant doesn't work in the long run. The doctor have to search or find the source. From where does it come? Does it come from the nervous system, or does it come from the fever, or does it come from some other imbalance in the what we call the 4 great essentials or the Mahabuddha, as we have studied about the Rupa last week. So the cause of the sickness, so it is likened to the cause of suffering. So here we can see that the first 2 kind of noble truth, the noble truth of suffering, Dukkha Ariya Satya, and the noble truth of the cause of suffering. So I'm going the left column and I'm going from the top to bottom. I'm going in a vertical way. And here I have mentioned just briefly suffering, the cause of suffering. So these two generates, in Pali we call poverty, that is the anuloma. So I'm linking to another one. Looking at the headline, the first one, in the second line, we say the Four Noble Truth is the most concise form, while the law of dependent origination or dependent arising, in Pali we call Paticca Samuppada. Okay, Paticca Samuppada. In Burmese we call Paticca. So comparing to the Four Noble Truths, it is more complete. It is explained in a more elaborated way, we can say. So that is the dependent origination. So let's compare these two columns, Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination. So when we look at the middle column, that is the dependent origination, which is more complete in nature than the Four Noble Truths, we can see two classifications. The first one is causing or generating, that is in Pali we call poverty. So it means we will go in ascending order. In Pali we call anuloma. So we will see what is ascending order and what are the factors. By ascending orders, as it has 12 factors, it go from because of number 1, number 2 arises, because of number 2, number 3 arises, like this. So this is the ascending order or the normal order. And looking back at the first column, that is the Four Noble Truths, we have come to the third one, cessation of suffering. Okay, cessation of suffering. So now the doctor has already diagnosed the cause of my headache, and the doctor has already given the medicine. That is like the fourth one, way to cessation. That is the treatment. So if I have taken the treatment fully and properly, according to the prescription, then I will get cured. So it comes to the third one, cessation of suffering. So again, we can classify the Four Noble Truths in connection to the dependent origination. The second pair is the cessation or the cure, the sickness is cured. So that is the nivati. So it comes in the reverse order. It means it goes up from the bottom to the top. By ascending order, we mean we come down from top to bottom. This is what is meant by the anuloma, or in Pali we call anulo, while reverse order going backward. That is what we call patiloma or patilo. So I will come back into details later, these factors later. So for the time being, so we can just see that the Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination can be linked in two ways. The first way is by way of causing or generation, and in that there pertains or there include two kinds of truth, that is suffering and the cause of suffering. So if the cause of suffering is not removed, then the suffering will continue from life to life. And this is what this law of dependent origination is trying to explain us all. And once the cause has been traced and it has been well treated, and when it is cured, it comes to cessation. So it comes to the patiloma or the reverse order. Then apart from these two teachings, the Four Noble Truths and the law of dependent origination, we have another teaching that is the most profound and more comprehensive, more elaborated. It is explained in more details. So this we call the causal relations or the patana. Okay, causal relations. By this term, we can see that we can understand that the causes are related to each other. From the word itself or the translation causal relation itself, we can see that the causes are related to each other. So when we talk about the Four Noble Truths and dependent origination, the first two teachings, we mainly talk about only cause and effect. but in a different way. While the Four Noble Truths is the most concise or the most summarized way or the abridgment, and after that, the dependent origination of Paticca Samuppada is medium. But when we come to the Patthana or the causal relations, it has one more factor. So we can see on the most right column, the third column, most comprehensive one, it refers to the causal relations of Patthana. And in that causal relation, there are three factors or three principles. The first one is cause, which we call Paccaya. Okay, Paccaya. In Burmese, we call Pyasi. And the second one being effect or the result. That is the Paccayoppanna. Okay, Paccayoppanna. Paccaya is the cause and Oppanna is the effect that is arising. So the effect that is produced by the cause, that is the meaning. And in addition to this, it also explains about the conditional forces or the causal efficacies of the conditions. It means the Paccaya Sati or the potentiality or the power or the capacity of these conditions and how they are related to each other. So our Myanmar people are very fond of reciting Patthana. So this we will look at the next week as the last lecture. So let me move over to another. And before moving to another slide, just let's summarize. So the Buddha's teaching on the law of karma, law of cause and effects. So it is come in altogether three modes: the concise form, that is the Four Noble Truths, and another one, more complete form, that is the dependent origination, and the third one, that is the most comprehensive one, that is the Patthana. So let's see what are the key concepts that we have to understand regarding the law of this cause and effect. So you might notice here at the sub-theme of our lecture today, law of dependent origination. So this also explains about cause and effect, and in relation to law of karma, that also explains about cause and effect. That's why I have mixed up these two, and the law of karma also will be explained as we go along. Then there are some key concepts on cause and effect. So here, just as we have already seen in the first slide, Paccaya means cause and Paccayoppanna. Okay, Paccayoppanna, that is effect or the result that is produced by the cause. So that cause, when it produces or it causes or it generates the result, it performs two functions, two kinds of work or two kinds of duties it performs. The first one, causing the effect which has not yet arisen. And the second one, strengthening the effect which has already arisen. So we can have this simple example. Suppose we listen to a Dhamma talk given by Rector Sayadaw, for example. Suppose this is the first time I study or I have heard about the law of dependent origination. So this is the first time I listen to the Dhamma which I have never listened before. And for those who have already learned this Paticca Samuppada, maybe from some other famous or renowned preachers like Siddhagu Sayadaw and some other Oxford Sayadaw or some other famous renowned teachers, then it would be, their knowledge would be increased or enhanced. So this is what is meant by strengthening the effect which has already arisen. So in combination, Paticca Samuppada is often translated as either dependent arising or dependent origination. So what does it mean? So here is the explanation in the next line. The effect or result appears depending on the causes. So it is important to understand that the effect or results are produced dependent on the causes, not the single cause. Later we will see there is no first cause or the root cause in Buddhist teaching, because the causes. This is the cause for this phenomena, but it would be effect for another. So this we will understand better as we move along. So the difference between this Paticca Samuppada and Patthana has been explained by this phrase: the cause that produces results in dependence on other causes. So in Pali it says that tat bhava bhavi bhava karamato palekhido Paticca Samuppada nayo. So this I have just quoted from the Abhidhamma Sangaha. Then in brief, we can say that Paticca Samuppada is the mere correlation of cause and effect. So we can sum up this way. And another term, because during the time of the Buddha, or even prior to the time of the Buddha, there are many teachings that explain about cause. So Paticca Samuppada that we are studying now, the cause that produces results independent on another cause. Okay, so this is the Paticca Samuppada. So by Paticca Samuppada, we have to understand we are talking about the cause, the reason. And another term, Paticca Samuppanna. So here I have underlined these two. Upada, that is the cause, Uppanna, that has been produced by the cause, so it refers to the effect. Then another one that I have here included is the Adecca Samuppanna. Adecca Samuppanna. I'm trying to share with you some terms that we might come across in listening to the Dhamma talk or the reading the teaching of on this Paticca Samuppada. That is the accidental arising without any cause. In some other teachings or the belief system, they explain that things are, we are born as a human being as an accident or without any cause, or being created by the supernatural power or some other agency, or like the permanent God and so on. So the Buddha's teaching deny or refute those accidental arising So can you hear me? Mute and mute. Can you hear me? No? Yes. Okay. I think you can hear me, okay? So yes, I see some are nodding their head. Thank you. So where were we now? I was trying to explain about the key concept, and we have often heard about Paticca Samuppada. It refers to the cause, while the effect has been termed or named as the Paticca Samuppada. And another word that we have to be very careful to take note of, as it is not the right kind of teaching, that is the accidental arising without any causes. So the Buddha's teaching deny or refute accidental arising, that is the causeless cause or the root cause. It means there is no one cause or no single cause that produces result. And there are a combination of causes that work together or that are combined together or that depend on each other in producing or generating the result or the effect. So here it has been summarized in 2 lines. The Buddha's teachings clarify that everything comes into existence depending on the causes concerned. So moving on to the next one, like the Abhidhamma, we know that there are altogether 7 Abhidhamma texts. And along with those texts, because the teachings, the main teachings, some of the concepts are not easy to understand, the scholars, which we call commentators, they have explained on the main concept or the key concept or the main words of some Abhidhamma terms. So among these, here we can see as the reference, the last line, Samoha Vinodani. So it's a Pali name, and this is the name is very beautiful, Moha, delusion. Okay, Vinodani, dispelling. So dispeller of delusion. So how beautiful the name is. So the name of the Pali commentaries are very beautifully composed, have to say. So in that Samoha Vinodani, there is a particular, that is the commentary to the second Abhidhamma text, that is the Vibhanga. So in that text, we have the 18 chapters, the second Abhidhamma text. So among the 18 chapters of the Vibhanga, we have one chapter that is dedicated to the Paticca Samuppada, or the law of dependent origination or law of dependent arising. So that is the Paticca Samuppada Katha. It says that there are 4 profound teachings that are difficult to be understood or difficult, not easy to be comprehended. The first one is the 4 noble truths. Okay, so the second one, the existence of beings, the living beings, satta. Because as we know, the so-called being or individual, in terms of the ultimate sense or in terms of the Abhidhamma, is a combination or mere functioning of nama and rupa. Because for the former 6 lectures, we have dedicated our time and effort on sharing and understanding what is the nature, what are the functions of the mind and matter, and how we so-called being are composed of. So what is the purpose of doing that? That is to dispel the wrong view of the existence of satta, that is the self, atta, self, soul, jiva, and being satta. Because contemporary to the time of the Buddha and prior to time of Buddha's teaching, in India, the teaching on the soul and the transmigration, that is when a person dies, the soul or the self from the body also move out or transmigrate to another body, like people migrate to some other foreign countries or abroad, like today. So this existence of being is also difficult to understand. And another one is the rebirth linking, pati sandi. Pati means again, for the next time, or re. And Sandi means linking. So Pati Sandi means rebirth linking. So that is the very first consciousness or the very first Jada in our life. It means we are born. Okay. The very first moment of this beginning of our life we call Pati Sandi, and we have already seen this term in the previous lectures. So this is also one of the difficult and profound teachings. And the last one is the law of dependent origination. So we were trying to see how these difficult teachings can be understood with reference to our life. So this is what I'm trying to do today. Then the law of dependent origination, that is the Paticca Samuppada. And what I say in the second slide, after the topic slide, law of dependent origination in the ascending order, that is the Anuloma or Anulo. So because the Buddha has, at the moment of or prior to the attainment of the enlightenment, the Buddha has reflected on this law of dependent origination. In the first watch, this dependent origination in the ascending order. And in the second watch, in the dependent origination in the reverse order. That's the second slide will come. And in the third watch of the night, it says that the Buddha reflected on this both version again and again. So as a token of paying gratitude to the Buddha and to get familiarized with you with this teaching, here I have purposely included the Pali words, okay, to show its authenticity. Avijja Paccaya Sankhara, okay, Avijja Paccaya Sankhara, and Sankhara Paccaya Vijnanam. Avijja Paccaya Sankhara. Avijja means ignorance. Paccaya means depending on. Okay, so avijja paccaya, depending on ignorance, sankhara, the volitional activities arises. So simply, we can say that not knowing what is right and what is wrong, in the past, we did many actions, we did many activities. So this is what is explained by this avijja paccaya sankhara. Okay, and then later we will come to each and every detail. And sankhara paccaya vijnanam, because of our past volitional action means that we do purposely, right, along with the cetana. Right? You might remember cetana is a universal mental state, that is the sabba ceta sadharana cetasika, and sankhara paccaya vijnanam, because of our past karma, that now vijnana here refer to this rebirth linking consciousness. We are born as a human being. So this is what is meant by sankhara paccaya vijnanam. And the third one, vijnana paccaya nama rupam. So at the moment of rebirth, here vijnana refers to the rebirth linking consciousness with which we are born. So at the moment, or since the very beginning of rebirth, nama rupam, we have both mind and matter. Okay, and as we move on to the fourth line, nama rupa paccaya salayadanam. Sa means here 6, number 6. Ayatana means basis. Like, it's very simple. It refers to the 5 sense organs: eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, body base, and the heart base, right? Or here the mind base. So because of nama rupa, then in relation to that sense organ, and when the external sense object get into contact with that sense organ, then we need this sense basis, salayatana. And salayatana paccaya passo. And at the sense basis, when the sound get into contact with the ear sensitivity, just now the aircraft passes by, and since I have opened the door, the sound seemed to be louder than before. So it is the sound of the aircraft gets into contact with the ear base, then we have this ear consciousness or hearing consciousness. It means they get into contact. Salayatana pachaya paso. And then what happens when it gets into contact? Phassa pachaya vedana. Because of contact, there is feeling. If I say that, oh, it's irritating, then I would have this unpleasant feeling. Or if I can ignore, then it would be just neutral feeling. But at the moment of hearing, it's always neutral feeling. But following this thought, if I interpret and if there is like and dislike, then they are different kind of feeling. Then Vedana Pachaya Tanha. So when we like it, then we have craving or attachment to this, especially for life. It says that every being is so much attached or precious of its life. Even the animals and insects in the animal world, let's say in the forest, the stronger one, they always bully the weak ones, right? And even the weak one who had been already tortured by the stronger ones, or being bullied by the stronger ones, they are still happy with their life. It means they still have attachment to that life. So that is Vedana Pachaya Tanha. Because of contact, there is craving. And Tanha Pachaya Upadana. Tanha Pachaya Upadana. Tanha means craving. But that when that craving become very strong, become excessive, we call clinging or grasping. Like you like your favorite food, that is, we have attachment or craving on our favorite food, that is tanha. But when it becomes very strong, we will make effort in every way to get it because we are so much attached to it. We have too much clinging to that. That is what is meant by upadana, right? So what happens when there is clinging or grasping? Upadana pachaya bhava. Because of the craving to the life that existences, then there is another new life. Okay, and bhava pachaya sati. Because of the life existence, then there is birth. We are born. Human beings or beings are born. And what happened? Jati pachaya. Okay, so when we are born, naturally it leads to gradually leading to aging and death. Like we are different from last 10 years as to now, and I'm different from last year to today. And again, like from past few minutes till now, my body is driving towards this old age, and later it will go to death. So jati pachaya jara marana. So what happened when there is death or loss of our loved one, near ones, dear ones? Soka, there will be sorrow, parideva, lamentation, and dukkha, the physical pain, domanassa, the mental pain. All these will arise, Sambhavanti. So finally, the last one is the summary of this 12 factors. Eva metasa, kevalasa, dukkha khandasa, samudaya hoti. Dukkha, suffering, khanda, aggregate. So the arising of all these is just mere arising of the aggregate of suffering. So this is the teaching the Buddha has reflected before attainment of the enlightenment. And after the Buddha has attained the enlightenment, the Buddha has already say the words out of rejoice, which we call udana, or in Pali we call udanjure. That means like when you are so much happy or rejoice, okay, then suppose that you have been helping out the victims or during this outbreak of COVID-19, and you have been working with your mind and body, and when you could save the life of other, then you feel so much rejoiced that you can't remain in your mind, then you have to speak it out, right? Then you have to share with someone. The Buddha also say that now I have seen the house, the builder of this house, the carpenter, and I will never let you build another house again. So it means that the Buddha has find this craving as the builder of the existences, the creator of the existences. And when it has been well understood and it has been removed by the power of the strongest mega or the Arhata mega, then there will be no more rebirth. So this is how the Buddha has taken so much serious thoughts and the practice on this Paticca Samuppada. Then another one, that is the reverse order, and we call in Pali we call Patiloma. Okay, that is the, I will just explain the first or second line. Avejja nirodha sankhara nirodho. So in the first slide, please see avejja paccaya sankhara. Because of the ignorance, because we didn't know, we do many kinds of activities, right? So in the reverse order, what happened? So when the ignorance, sorry. When the ignorance ceases, then we won't do actions anymore, right? That is the avejja nirodha sankhara nirodho. And sankhara nirodha, when we do not do, sankhara means ceases or stop or terminates or ends, okay? When the sankhara, these volitional activities are stopped, or we don't do any more action, what happened? Vijnana nirodho, there will be no more life. Because of our craving or attachment for the existences or life, then and being covered by the ignorance, we keep on doing activities. So this is the meaning. And as we move on, then we can say that all this go in the ascending order. And finally, in the third line from the bottom, bhava nirodha jati nirodho. When there is no life, there is no karma bhava. Here it refers to no activities, jati nirodho. The life will also cease, no more life. When there is no more life, jati nirodha jara, that is the aging, marana, old age, death, and soka, sorrow, parideva, lamentation, dukkha, physical pain, domanassa, mental pain, nirochanti, they all will come into cessation. Okay, and then the last line, the summary, it says, eva metasa kevalasa. Kevalasa means just merely, dukkha khandasa, the aggregate of this suffering, nirodha, nirodho hoti. So it comes into cessation. So this is how the original Pali says. Now, then we might think that there are too much to understand and remember, since there are altogether 12 factors and a long teaching and long explanation. Then in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Nidana Samyutta. So in this Nidana Samyutta explain, or there are many suttas that teaches about this law of dependent origination. But maybe in different order. In some suttas, it says that why do we have life? Then it goes back again. Or because there is clinging. Why do we have clinging? Then because of this craving. Then why do we have craving? Because of feeling. Why is there feeling? Because of contact. Why is there contact? Because of the six senses. Why is there six senses? Then because of the mind and body, right? Why do we have mind and body? Because we are born. Then why are we born? Because of the our past activities. Why did we do our past activities? Because we did not know what is wrong and what is right and what is wrong. So the order may go in different way. I mean, it may go up or in ascending order or descending order, but over and above, all these teachings explain about the Paticca Samuppada. So the same case is applied to this one. It says Ariya on the last line. We have the reference Ariya Savaka Sutta. Okay, that's the noble disciple, the teaching on the noble disciple, let's say, that is the Nidana Samyutta of the Samyutta Nikaya. So it says that Ima samain sati idam hoti. there the cause exists, then the effect also exists. So, ima samem asati idam nahoti. If the cause doesn't exist, the effect would also cease. Effect won't come into being. So, this is a summary. And it keeps on saying, imasa obada, due to the arising of this cause, and then idam opejati, this effect arises. And on the contrary, due to the cessation of this cause, imasa nirodha, the effect also ceases. In idam nirojati. So this is what is explained by the summary of the law of dependent origination. So it means that the 12 factors, just that we have seen in the ascending order and descending order, it can be summarized in this teaching. So it should be okay. And avijja paccaya sankhara. Avijja means ignorance. Okay. Paccaya, it causes or it conditions or it arises depending on. So because of ignorance, there is rebirth producing volition or cetana, or the karma volition or the volitional activities. So here we can see that sankhara has been explained in different ways, like karma formation or volitional activities, or the rebirth producing volition, to be particular or to be exact. So what is ignorance and what are sankhara? Okay, so ignorance, it represents moha cetasika, that is present in or associates with the 12 akusala jeta. So here I have mentioned, to recall your memory, moha is an unwholesome universal mental state that is together with all the 12 akusala jeta. So when we say there is craving, moha or ignorance is from behind, right? Again, when we have anger, because we did not know or we do not take into account the disadvantages or the fault of dosa, then we have this dosa, hatred or depression or the irritation or the annoyance, right? That's why moha is always present in the unwholesome, unwholesome consciousness, or one of the unwholesome universal mental states. So here we have very simple example. Ignorance, that is likened to a cataract in the eye. So when there is cataract, then people do not see very clearly because it veils or it covers or it obscures our mental eye, right? This is the metaphorical usage. When there is cataract in eye, then some people say that their vision is blur. Then they see like there is some snow or some dust in their sight. So that they do not see very clearly and it has to be removed. Then this ignorance, it prevents us from seeing the true nature of things. So what are the true natures? Seeing impermanent and nature as permanent nature, right? Right now the light went off. The light has gone off. And actually we also have some electrician working here. Normally we don't let any workers to work on this Sunday morning. We try to reserve the day. And I was thinking that maybe they have cut the light off accidentally, but actually it is from the main source, from the main power plant. So it has been cut off. So I was thinking that as usual, the light may not go off like on Sunday morning, but now it shows the impermanence. Then it can also be turned off or cut off at any time. Then unpleasant as pleasant. Like I have taken shower this morning to clean myself and to cover up my body with the clothes or the dress. Otherwise, it would be smelly. Then we have already seen how our physical body is composed of the 4 primary elements, right? Then when we dissect or divide our body into different body parts, what we will see is a pile of flesh and bone and skin and sinews and nerves and all these things, hairs, head hairs, body hairs, so disgusting. But when it has been beautified or tidy up or covered up by the clothes and different design, it seems to be pleasant. And because it is impermanent and it is unpleasant, it produces suffering, but we tend to um, take it as the happiness because we want things to be permanent, we want things to be happy. And this repulsive nature, yes, I have explained, we take it to be beautiful, we take asubha to be, it should be subha, beautiful subha. And not non-self or unsubstantial. Why all these things happen? Impermanent, suffering, and repulsiveness. Because it does not really belong to us. If we really belong, then we would say, let our physical body be thus, always happy, always healthy. Our mind would be happy, relaxed, and peaceful. And may our dear ones be always happy, peaceful, and successful. But because it were not so, it tends to change. It is unmanageable. It is unsubstantial. That is, we are taking anatta to be atta. So all this happen because of this ignorance of moha. So Sautanda teaching explained that moha means not knowing or not understanding the Four Noble Truths. When we say about knowing or understanding of the Four Noble Truths, it is not like my understanding. What my understanding is just my perception or sanya or just written. It has been in a note, but here understanding or knowing me, knowing with the wisdom, or like when there is suffering, yes, this is our physical body or all conditioned things tend to be impermanent suffering, then we see as truly as they are, or because of this craving, right? Because of this craving, there is sorrow and lamentation and so on. When we really understand this in our life, that is the real understanding. Or otherwise, I would be writing, or I would be reciting, or I would be sharing with you just from the book itself. It would be just memory or the perception, not real understanding. So it's very important that we check with our life. Then we will be able to, let's say, even we can't remove ignorance totally, we will be able to make it less powerful, right? Then according to Abhidhamma, there are 8 things or 8 places that is covered by Avijja. So the first one is the Four Noble Truth, not knowing the noble truth of suffering. Is life suffering or is life happiness? Actually, life is suffering because it cannot be managed or controlled by us. It goes its way. And once we are born, we can't stop aging and death. It is driving incessantly. Every minute and every second, our life has been driven to the old age and death, right? So not knowing the noble truth of suffering, and the cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, and the way leading to cessation of suffering. Let's say the Four Noble Truths. So these are first 4. And not believing in the past life. Some people, they really don't believe that we did exist in the past. But we do believe that we did exist in our past, because in our past life, we did many activities, and as a result, we are now born as a human being with all the faculties or the sense organ complete and full-fledged. Because in some human being, we might see that since their birth, since they are born, they cannot see, they cannot hear, and they cannot speak, and so on. And they don't have the ability to judge what is right from wrong. So there are also some being, it's also happened because of our past karma, we will see later on. And now, not believing in the future life, that is the aparanda. Apara means the next or the future. Yes, we do believe, Because in this life, we are doing many kinds of activities, volitional activities. Sometimes we do not knowingly, but many times we do actions knowingly. Then what will happen? So our action in this part, in this previous life, in this very life is the cause, and as a result, we will be born in the next lives. So long as we cannot remove or eradicate our mental defilements, and especially this craving. Then the next one, not believing in both past and future life, Popanda and Aparanda. So it says Popanda, Paranda. And number 8, the law of dependent origination. So Abhidhamma says that avijja means not knowing or not understanding or not believing, let's say, in these 8 kinds of places. Then what is sankhara? So here in sankhara refers to the 29 cetana. So cetana is a universal mental state, and we have altogether 7 universal mental states. The first one being contact, phassa, and when there is contact with the sense organ and the sense object, then we have feeling, right? Phassa, vedana. When there is feeling, then we take note, perception, right? Sanya. And then we have this motivation or volition, cetana, right? So this is included in one of the 7 universal mental states. It means there can be altogether, because we have altogether 89 cetana, there can be altogether 89 cetana, but not all 89 cetana are to be called as sankhara, only 29. So the first one, wholesome volition or cetana present in 8 sense sphere wholesome consciousness, that is the Mahakusala Ceta. Like we do volitional activities. Now we are learning, we are sharing, and we are practicing Dhamma. So this is also a wholesome activity. In Pali, we call Paunya Sankhara. Okay, so here we find another term. What we know is Sankhara. Here is the Abhi Sankhara. There is the prefix or the modifier Abhi. Because this Abhi Sankhara, it has the power or it has the potential to generate another rebirth. That's why it is known as the Abhi Sankhara. Paunya Abhi Sankhara means wholesome volition present in the 8 Mahakusala Ceta. So we have any one of 8 Mahakusala Cetas right now, and 5 fine material sphere wholesome consciousness, Rupa Kusala Ceta. And suppose you practice meditation, that is the tranquility meditation or the samatha bhavana, and you attain the jhana, then you have any of this rupa kusala ceta, right? So either wholesome activity done in our human world, or let's say in the celestial worlds like Brahmos, then all these pertain to the Paunya Sankhara, okay? And number 2, Apaunya Sankhara, it simply refers to the 12 Akusala Ceta. So I hope you still remember about the 3 unwholesome roots or the 3 poisons of the mind, that is lobha, greed, attachment, craving, clinging, okay, all these are different forms of lobha. And we have another root is the dosa, hatred, animosity, dislike, depression, annoyance, and all these things, it pertains to the dosa, and moha, the ignorance that we have just discussed. So all these 12 akusala ceta, it refers to the apaunya sankhara, unwholesome volition present in the 12 unwholesome consciousness, akusala ceta. And then Ananjabi Sankhara. Ananjabi Sankhara means unshakable volition. unshakable volition. It means when there is the attainment of the jhana, then it becomes stronger and it cannot be shaken by the mental hindrances. That's why this arupa kusala is called as the unshakable volition. Okay, so it says that um, ignorance is predominant in unwholesome activities, but in terms of the Mahakusala Jeda, Rupa Kusala or Arupa Kusala Jeda, then it is lying latent. Right now, we are studying the Dhamma, so we think there is no ignorance in our mind. Actually, ignorance, actually, um, ignorance has been uprooted in our mind. Ignorance has been latent in our mind. So it has not yet come up to the surface, but when there is latency in the mind, we cannot remove. So that is the meaning, right? So at the present moment, we are studying and sharing the Dhamma, so there is no ignorance that come up to the surface, but it is lying latent in our mind. So that is the meaning. Then Sankhara. How many kinds of Sankhara are there? Because it is quite an important factor, I have related, I'm trying to relate it in different ways. So Sankhara, it motivates or it instigates or it prompted or encourages wholesome and unwholesome actions. I hope that you remember this time when we have looked at the Mahakusala Jeda and Loba Mula Jeda and Dosa Mula Jeda. Like I have given you an example. In the case of the Mahakusala Jeda, I think that I have given this example. Out of one's will, own will, or it may not prompted by anyone, a person happily contribute voluntary service, right? In helping the COVID-19 at the outbreak of the COVID-19. So a person contributing voluntary service out of his own will, that is the without promptitude, and it is taken to be automatic. We say asankharika, not prompted or unprompted, right? And another one, sasankharika, suppose it has to be prompted. Maybe I feel lazy to join this class because I didn't have a good rest today, or I might be feeling very tired or exhausted from the whole day walk. But somebody has encourages us. Okay, at least we should join. Today is going to be finished soon, and so this is together with the promptitude, that is the sasankharika. So all these wholesome and unwholesome actions, kusala and akusala jeda, they are performed. How do we do our actions? Out of body, by body, through body, right? And then vaji, through speech, and through mind. Out of body, how? If you abstain from killing living beings, okay? Or if you abstain from the sexual misconduct, then you are abstaining from the unwholesome activity through body. Or suppose somebody commit lying, telling lies, slandering, or using hard speech to another person. They are accumulating volitional activities. Okay, akusala kama, through speech. And apart from that body and speech, there is also mind that is rooted or based in mind. Like abhidhamma, covetousness. I suppose someone is very prosperous and successful, then I'm just wishing that that success would be mine, and I have the intention of attaining or gaining that fame or the property. So that is the abhidhamma, right? Abhidhamma. And then ill will. Sometimes there is some kind of ill thought in mind to harm other. And then metta deity, wrong view. All these, they are rooted in the mind. Because of the wrong view, then we might have some ill thought to harm others, or we might want to, or we might plan to get somebody else's property in an unlawful way. All these are the mental volitional activities, unwholesome volitional activities, manodojirita. So these are rooted in mind. So before we act out through our body and before we speak it out through speech, there is the thought come in the mind. So it comes in three ways, right? Then sankhara, three kind of sankhara, how they produce effect or result. So you might be bored with some numbers, but please just listen as I explain. But to some who have already studied Abhidhamma, I think it would also be helpful. This chart would be helpful. Because, and Sankhara, as I say, the first two factors, ignorance and the volitional activities, avijja and Sankhara, they pertain to or they belong to the past. It means not knowing these as either good or bad, we did many activities. So here we did wholesome volition or wholesome activities in the past out of the 8 Mahakusala Jeda. Sometimes you might be doing happily, sometimes with neutral feeling, not so happily, sometimes along with the understanding of the law of karma. And in some people, they may not understand the law of karma. And sometimes we might be doing, or the actions come automatic, not unprompted or not encouraged by anyone. But sometimes we have to be encouraged by ourselves or prompted by others. So we might do any kind of the wholesome activities, either giving charity or observing morality or practicing meditation or doing service out of these 8 Mahakusala Jeda. So first, I look at the first column, then move on to the second. Now we will move to the third. So we will compare these 4 columns. Then the third and the fourth column, they go to the Vijnana, consciousness. So here, consciousness can be 2 kinds. So Sankhara here is the cause, right? Sankhara Pecaya Vijnana. Sankhara is the cause, and Vijnana, because we have the activities, now we are born. Here Vijnana refer to 2 kinds of the consciousness. The first one is the Patisandhi consciousness at rebirth, right? 19 rebirth linking consciousness. And another one during lifetime. So these are the resultant consciousness. That's why it says Mahavipaka Jeda. So please refer to the third column. On top, we have the 19 rebirth linking consciousness. So what is included is the 8 Mahavipaka. You have done 8 Mahakusala, and their resultant is the 8 Mahavipaka. It may, suppose you are very fond of doing the merits happily out of your own will and trying to have the knowledge of karma and its result. Then when it becomes habitual, then it is possible that your Patisandhi is also the same. So that is the one of the 8 Mahavipaka Jeda. And we have second one, Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka, Upekha Sandirana. It refers to the rebirth linking of some human being. So looking at that column, we can find 2 factors, 8 Mahavipaka, right? This is the rebirth linking of the human being, like normal human being like us, right? And another one, Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Upekha Sandirana. So this is the rebirth linking of the human being. I don't know where I have put this. Sorry, I didn't include here. Ahetuka kusala vipaka, another kind of human being, like who are born blind, who are born deaf, and who are retarded, and who cannot speak. Like they need some assistance. A human being, they are born as a result of their past kusala karma or the meritorious deeds. They are born as a human being, but they need some special care and assistance, we have to say. Okay. Later we will see what are the possible action that they have done in the past. And we move to the fourth column, that is the 32 consciousness during lifetime. And suppose you did the first kind of Mahakusala Jeda with pleasant feeling, understanding, knowledge, and without promptitude, then your rebirth, suppose your rebirth is this one, rebirth linking consciousness is that one of the 8 Mahavipaka Jeda, and during lifetime also it continues. The same type of Jeda continue in the name of the Bhavanga or life continuum. I think I have explained in the previous lectures. Bhavanga means Bhava Anga, factor of life. The factor or the function of Bhavanga is to continue our life. And I remember I have explained that Bhavanga arises between the thought processes. Now I'm talking to you, then you are hearing me. And I'm also looking at the screen, then I saw my hand moving. Then there are many series of thought processes so that I can comprehend, like my hand is moving, then I'm talking to you and you are hearing like my voice. And between that thought processes or the active series of consciousness, there are Bhavangas. And another moment that we have the Bhavanga prominent is during the deep sleep. Okay, when you have deep sleep or sound sleep without any dream, then we can know that there is the Bhavanga. So at present moment, that let's say the first Mahavipaka Jeda, that is with pleasant feeling, with knowledge, and unprompted kind of consciousness, that is said to be the best one. And it says that the Buddha also have this kind of rebirth linking. And suppose the rebirth linking is this one, and as it arises for the first time, it is given the name of rebirth linking or patisandhi. But as it continues throughout the whole life, it appears in the name of the Bhavanga. So it's like you are born as a baby, right? Now you are either adult or either senior citizen. But is it the same or different person? How do we say? Yes, it was, generally we would say, yes, it is only me, that I have grown up from the toddler up to the baby and then teenager, and are now come to the middle age, around 50. So that the Bhavanga Jeda also continuing throughout the whole life. Then another one, the second line in the fourth column, Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka Jeda 8. I know that I haven't explained all details about the Jedas, but you can listen and you can understand. Then these are the result of our past karma. So when we see something good, let's say something pleasant, pleasant in the sense of it may be beautiful, or it may be the object of veneration, or it may be your favorite thing, right? Then you see this more. And the sound, let's say that the object matters, or the visible object, the sight or the form that you see, and the sound that you hear, and the smell that you get it, and the food that you take, and the touch or the tangible object that you experience in your daily life, all are good. All this is the result of your past karma. And in some person who have done the 12 akusala karma, it would be something different. What they see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, right? These are the result of being the result of unwholesome karma. It is the akusala vipaka. It would be unpleasant. That would be you dislike. Then that is with suffering. That is the meaning. Then moving on to the second column back, that pertain to the Paunyabi Sankhara, that is the Rupa Kusala, that is the attainment of jhana. And once a meditator practice jhana, and without losing that jhana, or still with the attainment, if that person pass away, then that person would be born in the Rupa plane as a Brahma, that is the Rupa Vipaka Jeda. And during lifetime also, the rebirth linking will continue in the name of the Bhavanga. Then going back to the first column, unwholesome volition, apaunyabhi sankhara, it refers to the 12 akusala jeda, that is the akusala vibhaga upekha sandirana. So it would bear result in the animal world. So here, I think this is better to explain. Then Sankhara Petya Vijnana. So here I go a bit more detail. We can see the first column, 11 unwholesome consciousness. That is the except restlessness. Restlessness means odaja. It means that the restless mind is not strong or powerful enough to lead to the apaya. So except this restlessness, 11 unwholesome consciousness, they produce result in the 4 woeful abodes or apaya bhumi, here in the hell, like animals and the hungry ghosts. In Pali we call Peta and Asura Kaya. Then they have a mixture of both happiness and suffering, but most of the time there is suffering. That's why apa aya. Aya means happiness. Apa means devoid of or lacking or no. So apaya means almost no happiness in them. And the second one, 8 sense sphere wholesome consciousness, karma kusala or maha kusala. As a result, we are born as either human or in the celestial abode, right? Then we match the first column with the second column. And another one, because of the jhana attainment, rupa kusala jhana, then being are born in as the rupa brahmas. And the next one, in material sphere. In material sphere means those beings, those brahmas, they have only mind. Okay, then believe it or not, there are also beings in 31 planes of existences. There are some being who has only a physical body and no mind. But here, there are some brahmas who have only mind with no physical body. Is it possible? Yes. Why? Because some people think that, because of this physical body, we have this extra job to take care of it. And we have to earn a living to bring up this physical body. Because of this physical body, that there are problems and there is aging and there is death. So they become dislike, or literally it's say dispassionate, no more liking to this physical body. Okay, with that perception in mind, sanya, perception in mind. So okay. Rupa viraga sanya. It's a rupa vibhaga sanya. Rupa, this physical body. Discuss with this physical body. Okay, raga means liking. Viraga means no liking, no passion for on this physical body. So during the meditation practice, a meditator who has already attained the rupa jhana, with this perception in mind of the dislike or dispassionate towards this physical body, they develop in a way that they are born as a immaterial, or the brahmas without any physical body, but only just the mind or mental states, right? That's why they are known as immaterial sphere, no physical body at all. Just the state of mind exists. Then here, during lifetime or life continuity, poverty. Okay, let's say that we divide our life into three parts. Simply, we say we are born, we live, and we die. Okay, but in Abhidhamma, we say when we are born, we say that is the patisanti, rebirth linking, linking the past life with this present life, rebirth linking or relinking. That is how we are born. We have started our life. And the second one, our life will be continued. Okay, so literally, this is what we call life continuity, the technical term. But simply we say during our life or lifetime. So that is called poverty. And the last one, our life ends up. That is the death duty. Okay, so there are three main parts in our body. Now we are living during lifetime or life continuity. So what happened? This 8 Mahakusala Jeda, it produces 8 sense sphere resultant consciousness, Mahavipaka in human and 6 celestial abode, just as I have explained. The first in the name of the rebirth linking, and later continue in the name of the factor of life or life continuum, Bhavanga. And number 2, 8 rootless consciousness. So 8 rootless consciousness, that is the result of kusala, ahetuka kusala jeda. So it's very simple, these 8. Seeing, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose, tongue, body consciousness, right? 5 kind of consciousness. As a result, whatever you see, hear, smell, taste, and you use the tangible object that you have touched, all these are good. And all these are the result of this wholesome karma. And another one, the investigating consciousness, receiving consciousness and investigating consciousness that come in the series of thought. I hope I can explain you about the series of thought briefly in the Patthana when we come to Patthana next week. So it means that because of the past action, kusala karma, now we are born as a human being that is out of the 8 Mahavipaka Jeda. And during our lifetime also, what we hear, smell, taste, and whatever we encounter more are tend to be a result of something good. So it would be something pleasant. Then it also explains the same how Sankhara produce effect during lifetime, right? During lifetime, 8 Mahakusala, that is the past karma, it produces during lifetime 8 Mahavipaka, just now as I have explained in the name of the life continuum, Bhavanga, and Ahetuka Kusala Vipaka, result of our best action, all the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, consciousness, they all are good and pleasant. It means it encounter the pleasant consciousness. It means they have a better position. Then, when we do perform good action, there are some criteria. Why are we born different? Just as I have explained, even among human beings, some are very bright and intelligent, some are not very bright. They are just maybe they have their intelligence maybe a bit lower than others, right? And even there are some people who can speak from birth. All these are the result. Nobody created, but this is the past karma that each individual has performed in their previous lives. So here, when we do merit, then it is important. The first one, 8 Mahakusala Jeda. When we say 8 Mahakusala Jeda, there can be altogether 8 possibilities. It may, when we do merit, it can be out of these 8 Jedas. Okay, please understand this way. On the basis of Dihetuka. Dihetuka means when you do merit, you do with the knowledge, knowing, understanding karma and its result. So it is considered to be Nyana Sampayoda or that is together with 3 good roots or wholesome roots, aloba, okay, generosity or the non-anti-craving, adosa, anti-hatred, no anger, but mostly with the good thoughts and loving kindness, and amoha with wisdom. So when the jada is that associate with these 3 kinds of the mental states, it is considered jnana sambayoda, and we call tihetuka. Okay, ti means 3. Which 3? These 3 states, aloba, adosa, and amoha. Hetu means root, ka means having. So the mind having 3 good roots. So whenever you do marriage, then try to do this kind of marriage because the result will be different. How can we have this knowledge of karma and its result? It says that we have to think and reflect it often so that it becomes almost automatic with us. If we ignore, then later we just do it, not very much carefully, just help others or do donation or observe morality, not reflecting or not understanding on karma and its result, then it would be termed as the dvihetuka, the second one. The merit performed without the knowledge and karma and its result. So because there are only 2 roots, aloba and adosa, without amoha, it says jnana vibhayoda. So the best way is to do whatever good action it may be. The best way is to be jnana samyoda with knowledge. And again, each of these 2 is twofold. Each of these mean that tihetuka with knowledge and dvihetuka without knowledge, again, they are twofold, superior and inferior. The word itself are, I think, quite clear. Some people, they live a very good life, luxurious life, everything complete. They have good education and like good family background, and with the many supportive conditions to lead good and rich and prosperous life. What happened? So in that case, they have more privilege to help others. It does not mean that who are not prosperous cannot help others, but I mean that those who are prosperous, they have more favorable conditions, right? Suppose I would like to donate others, I need to have myself first. Otherwise, I cannot do. So what is superior grade? What makes this action to be superior? Performing meritorious deeds willingly and rejoiced before and after. So before you do merit, you rejoice in that. You prepare to do merit, to perform merit. Suppose this is the time to donate robes to the Sangha as the Katina, and this is the special full moon day of the Dasalmo that month. So this is the Katina season. So before you offer this offertories to the Sangha, then you prepare joyfully, willingly. And after you have offered also, whenever you think of that, then you are happy. So this is considered to be superior grade. Then what is inferior? Performing meritorious deeds unwillingly. Prior to that, not so willing, and feeling displeased, not so happy. But because maybe as a tradition we have to do that, or prompted by others, or when somebody is needed, then you try to help it, but not so happily, because maybe you don't like their morality, or maybe some other reasons behind, then feeling displeased and remorseful, or feeling stingy before and after. All these unwillingness, displeasure, remorse, and stinginess, they are akusala. So our action or our mind is tainted or dirty or mixed with these unwholesome thoughts, then it would become inferior. So it says that in performing merit, we are doing with any of these. I try to summarize this: with knowledge and superior. With knowledge, doing something willingly, joyfully. This is to be called knowledge, with knowledge and superior. With knowledge is the tihetuka and superior is the okata. Okay, so okata means something superior, and in Burmese language we call this okata as the chairman or chairperson. That is the okata, somebody who is in a higher position, who is superior. But another one, number 2, with knowledge, but when our mind is tainted with unhappy thoughts or thinking, then it become omaka, it become inferior, not so super. The third one, then it becomes less without knowledge, but the person does not believe in karma and its result, or maybe does not reflect in karma and its result, but before and after doing merit, they do it happily, joyfully, and after that also they are rejoiced. So this is dvihetuka, but superior quality, so that is the okata. And the last one, that is the weakest one, or let's say the lowest in degree or level, without knowledge and inferior, that is the dvihetuka or maga. So in producing result as well, it would be different. Let's see. The first column say possibility, and another one result. In possibility, we have this different level and degree. And in the third column, rebirth linking as rebirth result at rebirth linking, and the last one is the type and the plane. So now let's see. You have done the merit with knowledge and superior. So consciousness also, that is out of the 8 Mahakusala Jeda, consciousness with knowledge. Okay, so resultant would also the same. What happened? Born as a human and deity with knowledge. You have done tihetuka karma. You are born bright. Since rebirth, you have this intelligence in your mind. And another one, yes, you have knowledge, but the merit was inferior. And in some person without knowledge, but the action is superior, so it becomes the second grade. So they are born as dvihetuka person without knowledge in the last column as C. And the last one, that is the weakest one, without knowledge and inferior. So what happened in the last column? See, degraded human being and degraded earthbound deities. Degraded human being means, as I have mentioned, people who need special assistance or special care as they are born blind, deaf, and cannot speak and cannot manage to live their life. So, and even among deities, because when we talk about deities, we just think about deities living in the higher planes or in the celestial abodes. But Abhidhamma explained that there are also some, we have to say, lower capacity deities who are living around us. So they are called earthbound deities, like the guardians of the tree and like the guardian of the forest and so on. Then now I would like to link to this law of karma. Then karma refers to the volitional action or deed performed out of cetana, volition. So we have either moral action or immoral action that is to be performed through body, speech, and mind. And this karma, or because our actions are also impermanent, our mind is also impermanent. And after performing action, the cetana and the state or the mind will disappear. But what happened? Leaving its potential in the mental stream or mental continuum. Okay. So it happens is that like we can have this simple example. Suppose you eat some spicy food and you have taken 1 or 2 spoonful, you have already swallowed up, but the spicy taste is still remaining in your mouth, or you still have this, you feel still very hot and warm in the body. This is how the potential or effect has remained. And in the same way, like Karma is like the seed that has potential to produce all the plant. That is the vipaka. So it, as according to the saying, as we sow, so we reap. Its result either in this life or in the future, right? What we did now, we are having in the past, we are having result in this life, and what we are doing now, it will produce its result in the next life. So which karma in particular will generate next rebirth? So which karma generated this life? So here there are fourfold analysis of karma, and this is the summary table. Here we can have some glimpse. My battery is getting quite low, and I hope that it's still up to the end of this course, hopefully. So the first one, karma by way of action, productive karma. It means wholesome or unwholesome karma that causes a new life, right? That is, the produce a patisandhi result in a new life. Another one, supportive karma. Wholesome or unwholesome karma that support the productive karma that has already produced. Suppose your supportive karma is strong. Okay, now let's say you are born as a human being as a result of wholesome karma. And your supportive karma is also strong. So there are many supportive conditions for you, let's say, to lead a good life, or to have good education, or to be in the good environment. I mean, good environment means in among the ethical person, right? These are the supportive conditions. But we are born as a human being, and suppose this supportive condition, it come in as an unwholesome karma, then maybe I don't have the proper chance to study, to get educated, or there are no supportive conditions for me to live a good life. So this is how the supportive condition work. And the next one is the obstructive karma. Like, suppose due to the akusala karma, a being is born as a dog. And because of the akusala, another strong akusala karma supportive, that dog has to stay by the street without proper food and proper place to dwell. And also being bullied by some other dogs, and people might also beat that dog. So this is how the obstructive karma functions. And the destructive karma, it totally destroys the productive karma. Then another one, weighty karma, it is also important. Here, karma by order of ripening. Please see the heading. Paka dhana pariyaya, karma by order of ripening. Which karma will come first? Suppose I'm going to pass away from this life. Which karma will produce the next rebirth? Okay, so we have to check if we have weighty karma. Karuka karma, that is powerful, wholesome or unwholesome karma in producing its result. That is in the side of the unwholesome, that is the killing one's own mother, matricide, killing one's own father, patricide, and the murder of an arahant. See how strong and how weighty or heavy this karma is. And the wounding of the Buddha, like in the case of the Devadatta, who had the Buddha, so that the Buddha got hurt in the leg and had some bleeding, wounding of the Buddha. And schism in the Sangha is very dangerous, causing the Sangha to divide, right? This is considered to be weighty karma and strong doubt, niyata mesadeti, having wrong view. So if I have any of this, surely I will go to abaya. No other, but suppose you attain the mega, then that would help you. Suppose you attain a mega or jhana, and if you don't lose the jhana, accordingly, you will born in the rupa plane. Or suppose you become sotapanna, then this will be neutralized. This is the meaning. Another one, number 2, dex proximate karma. karma done or renewed at the moment of dying. So the last moment is very important. That's why we also need to practice our mind and sort of making it ready to be able to bear the suffering or the pain that we might have encountered, and also to have some habit of contemplation on the Dhamma. Because if there is no weighty karma, this death proximate karma will produce its result. That's why when people have chance, they let the people do merit by making the patient or the people on the deathbed to offer robes and some other, letting him or her remember the past marriage, or you try to turn on the environment favorable to have some good thoughts, right? So habitual karma that we do every day, every month, or every year, that that potential will also be accumulated, but that would come as the third one in order. And reserve karma, that means it is just done and without any special capacity. It is just action that is done. That's it. And the last one, karma, the next one, karma by time of ripening, paka kala priyaya. Then again, the first one, immediately effective. Your merit produce result in this very life. This is the immediately effective. So these need to be explained in terms of the Javana moments. And among 7 Javana moments, the first Javana, it produces result in this very life. Javana means in the thought process. Suppose in the case of the seeing consciousness, there is the, what do we call, turning the mind towards the object or paying attention in the 5 sense door. Then accordingly, we can see, right? And there is the object is receiving consciousness, and the object has been checked or examined, investigating consciousness, and it has been determined. After that, we have 7 moments of Javana in the usual case, then followed by the Dadaramana or the registration. So among that thought process, only at the moment of Javana, because it runs for 7 times, there can be kusala and akusala. Right at the moment of seeing is only upekha or neutral feeling, but only at the moment of Javana, the like and dislike come, and so is the capacity accumulated there. So among the 7 Javana moments, the first Javana, it is strong so that it produces result in this present life. Maybe like people, you might hear of people who may not be very prosperous, but with very good heart. And in this very life, they get good chance. It means their Cetana, the first Cetana or first Javana produces result. But the first Javana is not strong enough to continue to the next life. It means that if you look at the second one, it says subsequently effective. It means the result will produce in the next life. Then let's compare these two. The result that is produced in this very life and the next life. It means the next life is stronger, even stronger. So that is happened by the last or the 7th Javana. You know, for example, you have heard of this Paticca Samuppada for the first time, for example. Then there are only few that you understand. But if you hear for the second time, you understand better. Let's say you hear for 7 times. You also try to listen to some other talks. You try to read books and study. Let's say after some time, then your knowledge becomes stronger to share with others. So it is like that, you know, subsequently effective in the next life. And indefinitely effective, that is the middle 5 Javana. So it may come at any time. From the third life, you know, we are talking about this present life that is produced by the first Javana, And the next life, it can be produced by the last or 7 javana because it got support from the previous 6 javana. It becomes the strongest. So it has the capacity to produce the next rebirth. The middle 5, it will produce result in the 3rd life and in between till you attain Nibbana. So this is the meaning. And the 4th one, defunct karma, that is the ahosi karma. So it means that you have to finish food, you know. For the next week, at the next week. Okay.
Sally, sorry. တပြည့်တော့အစနေပြန်ပြောပါဗျာတပြည့်တော့ဖုန်းကလည်း off ဖြစ်နေလို့ mic ကလည်း off ဖြစ်နေ
Hello, dear everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. And unexpectedly, my battery has gone flat. I have fully charged, but I use the iPad and all the microphones, so the computer consumed lots of battery. So now it has gone to 0, and it was already shut off. So now I'm talking to you on phone through Viber, and I hope that you will kindly understand me for all the inconveniences today. Okay, and I will share the slides with the organizers, and they will send to you so that if you have time, maybe you can read it, or if you don't have time, you can just listen. And next week I will cover the parts that I have not finished, and I will try to introduce you some part of the Patana that I have planned for the next week. And thank you so much for your kind patience and kind participation. And as for today, we have to stop our class unexpectedly, but time is also already up. And I hope that what I have shared with you today would be somewhat helpful for you. Okay, so thank you so much once again, and let me allow to conclude our lecture by reciting Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tetatu. Okay, Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tetatu, Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tetatu, Buddha Sasanam Chiram Tetatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the teachings of the Buddha last long. May the teachings of the Buddha last long. May the teachings of the Buddha last long. Well done, well done, well done. Bhavatu sabba mangalam, rakhantu sabba devata, sabba Buddha nubhavena, sabba dhamma nubhavena, sabba sangha nubhavena, sada sukhi bhavantu te bhavantu me. May there be all blessings. May the deities protect you. By the power of the Buddha, by the power of the Dhamma, by the power of the Sangha, may we all be well, happy, peaceful, and accomplished. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And just one thing that I would like to thank and appreciate, that I have received all the donations that you have contributed through to our college or for my youth, through the organizers. They have very systematically arranged and sent the list to me. And thank you once again to our donors and organizers. And I am just happy and grateful that you try to participate in these long lectures. And I'm glad that still there are over 100 participants who are joining regularly. And we will share our merits for all the attendance of the Dhamma, for the donations, and for the sharing of the Dhamma, and for organizing in our next lecture. Thank you. Thank you once again, everyone. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you.